Welcome back. Today we're going to work on problem P2, which is T accounts for service enterprises. So the first thing you need to do is go to Canvas, find and read or print the directions, and download the Excel file. So within the Canvas module, find problem P2 and enter into that. Read the directions, which includes a video, which you're watching right now. It also includes the program directions, which you can read or print out. I would encourage you to print them out. And finally, you can download the Excel file. You can open it up directly from here, or you can right-click it and save to either your flash drive or to your hard drive. So I'll wait a minute while you do that. Okay, now that you have the directions in front of you and you have the Excel file downloaded, we're ready to begin. The objectives of this problem are to analyze common business transactions and record them in T accounts, determine the proper balances of the T accounts, prepare a trial balance using the T accounts, analyze the results of the business and comment on some common ratios, prepare a set of financial statements for a sole proprietor who is engaged in a service-oriented business, and of course, to create a chart. So this problem deals with T accounts. Can you remember the debits and credits that you learned in your Accounting 100 class? Chances are your instructor introduced the rules of debits and credits by introducing T accounts to you. So to refresh your memory, as you see on the slide, a T account is simply an account that looks like a T that has the title at the top. So you would have a T account for each different account in the accounting system. And the left-hand side is always referred to as a debit, and the right-hand side is always referred to as a credit. And you had to memorize 5 rules for T accounts. There was a rule for assets, a rule for liabilities, one for equity, one for revenue, and one for expenses. And chances are your instructor gave you some tricks to remember the accounting equation. On this slide, you'll see the fundamental accounting equation that we talked about in the first problem, but this time we have T accounts for each type of account. When I teach Accounting 100, I tell my students that if they can remember what the asset account looks like, then they can remember everything else, because everything else is on the other side and will be the opposite. So for asset accounts, assets are increased by debits and decreased by credits. On the other side of the accounting equation, the plus minuses are backwards. Instead of plus minus, over here you have minus plus and minus plus. And then don't forget about the equity umbrella, the expanded equity equation. And here's a slide that shows you the expanded equity equation, and because the expenses are deducted out, they are backwards from the revenues. So the expenses is the only other category of accounts that looks like the assets. And so however your instructor helped you remember those, I would strongly encourage you to take a moment and remember the 5 rules for debits and credits. If you need a little bit more guidance than that, remember that my website for my traditional classes has many handouts on it, and this is chapter 3 from Accounting 100. So if you need a little bit of brush up, you can go to my website, which you have seen before and hopefully have bookmarked. You can go to the course materials link. You can go to Accounting 100. You can scroll down to the chapter 3 handout and you'll see a handout called rules of debits and credits. And here are the accounting equations that we just spoke about. Again, in my class, I tell students that you have to remember assets as plus minus. I encourage them to remember it in pictures. And everything else on the right-hand side of the equal sign is the opposite, minus plus, minus plus, minus plus, except for expenses because of the fact that this minus sign can cause it to look like the assets, which really means you could put it over on the other side of the equation. So once again, however your accounting teacher helped you remember it, think back to that, because this problem, unlike the first one, will use debits and credits. So once again, before you go any further, have some kind of an aid out to help you remember the rules of debits and credits. Whether it's a printout, a handout, a video that you might remember watching, however you've been taught to do that, go ahead and remember those rules. You're going to need them. So let's get on to the Excel project. On the screen is a blank Excel worksheet that you should have downloaded from the website. When I say blank, I mean I've set it up for you, and you'll record the transactions and work through the problem as directed. The first transaction has been recorded for you. So transaction 1 says, on the first day of January, the owner, Miss Sheila Main, invested $50,000 cash in the name of the business, The Main Event. This company performs cosmetology services for a client base. So as shown on the screen, we debited cash because assets have a rule of plus minus, and we credited capital because equity accounts have the rule of minus plus, and we've recorded the first transaction, period. Let's try the next few together. Number 2 says, you prepaid the rent for the next 3 months in the amount of $6,000. Okay, so right now we're not going to worry about any adjustments. We're simply going to record the transaction. So in Accounting 100, you learned that when you prepaid something, that became an asset, and it was called a prepaid account. Now, I just noticed a mistake. Instead of having prepaid insurance, we should call this prepaid rent. So go ahead and change that in the file. And in case I haven't explained, I overhauled the course for you guys. Instead of charging you for books and templates, I decided to recreate the whole class. And so because of that, you guys are my first class that I'm using the files on. There's going to be little issues that come up like that, and we'll deal with them as they come up. Okay, so we want to debit the prepaid rent for $6,000. And we want to put the number 2 in the smaller column. And what would the credit go to? Well, if we prepaid the rent for the next 3 months, the credit would be to cash. So I'm going to go up to the cash account and put that credit in there of $6,000, and I will put the number 2 to record the transaction. I want you to notice something. I created several subtotals on these accounts for you, and if you go look at the formula, you'll see that it's the summation of the debit side less the summation of the credit side, and it balanced. I did that for several accounts. You're going to have to do the totals for the other accounts. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's do one more transaction together. Number 3 says you purchased office supplies for $3,000 in cash. So I'm going to debit the supplies account for $3,000. I'll drop the date in there. That was transaction number 3. And we didn't buy them on account, we bought them for cash. So I will come over here to the cash account and credit the cash account for $3,000, again dropping a date in there. So continue recording the transactions. As I said, I've done some of the totals for you. You'll have to do the others, and when you're done recording the transactions, you're going to complete this trial balance. And what this trial balance does is summarize the balance in the activity of the account. So for example, if you go look at the ones that I set up, the cash here has been cell referenced back to where it's located in cell B4. That's where the formula came from, equals B4. And the amount right now is $41,000 because I haven't finished it. But if I click on the $41,000 and you look in the formula bar, that's a cell reference to where the total for the cash was right here. So you're going to finish recording the transactions, and then you're going to complete the rest of the trial balance by cell referencing both the account name and the balance, and some of the balances you'll have to compute. So for example, I've done cash for you. It looks like I've done accounts receivable, supplies, prepaid rent, and equipment. Looks like it's been done for you. So the one that I'm going to show you how to do is accounts payable. So think about accounts payable. It's a liability account, which means its normal balance is a credit. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to write the formula to be the sum from the top to the bottom of the credit side. I'll close my parentheses, minus the sum, open the parentheses, from the top to the bottom. And as I fill in the transactions, that total now will automatically update. You're going to do the same type of total with the remaining accounts, remembering what the normal balance of the various accounts are, and you're going to cell reference the totals to this trial balance. So for example, on the account I just created, accounts payable, the account total I just created, I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to cell reference the account name to be where the account is here in F4 it looks like, and I'm going to press enter, and you'll see that the account name was entered. And I'm going to go to the normal balance, which is the credit side, and I'm going to press equals, and I'm going to go grab that total that I just calculated from here, and I'll press enter. That's how we cell reference things. As you continue to fill in the transactions, these numbers will drop in, and as always, I give you check figures so you can tell whether you're on the right track. Recorded the first few transactions together, I demonstrated to you how to compute the total of the T accounts, and I also demonstrated to you how to cell reference the amounts to the trial balance. Continue reading in the directions. One of the things you're going to do is create another set of financial statements, and just like we cell referenced account names and dollar values from the trial balance, when you create your financial statements, 100% of the number should be cell referenced back to the trial balance. So hopefully that video was enough to get you started. If not, please let me know. Remember that we're here to help each other, and I'm here to help you. So once you finish the problem, double check the requirements, make sure your work prints out properly. After double checking that you've completed all parts of the problem, upload the Excel file to me through Canvas as directed. And then on all the problems, check to see if any discussion post applies to this problem. Once again, if you need help, just ask. You have my email address, you know where my office is, you know that we have numerous staffed accounting labs with professors or instructors that are more than willing to help you, and you also have your classmates. Don't hesitate to put a question on the discussion board. For example, if you don't know how to record number 7 that says had a bridal party in for updos and nail services, billed the bride's mother for services totaling $3,000 to be paid next month, consider posting something on the discussion board that says, I'm stuck on transaction 7. Can somebody help me? And most likely one of your classmates will respond. If they don't, feel free to email me directly with any questions you have, and I guarantee you that I will respond. So we're on this journey together. I'm here to help you, and if there's any questions whatsoever, ask for help. Talk to you soon.